Hi all, this is Dr. Sage Breslin and this is Wisdom Wednesdays. So today we're gonna just take a look at the hidden costs of having a narcissistic boss. So, narcissists are mostly very charming. They tend to be very charismatic. They really know how to snap people to attention, at least initially. And they can really, get ahead in life. So, when you look at having a narcissistic boss, you might have taken the job because your boss was all that and you were excited about maybe what that person was going to bring to the table for you. Except that as you continue to work for that boss, once you've been hooked, once you've been hired, the boss is going to go into that second phase in pathological relationships, right? You're on the line now, so now he doesn't have to try or she doesn't have to try, right? So no more excitement about you as a new hire, no more fluffing you up, no more treating you as if you're something special, because even though you are special, the boss is not going to see you at the core of his reality or her reality. The boss is the primary target in the boss's reality. So let's maybe look at some hidden costs to having a narcissistic boss or a low functioning borderline boss. So the first thing is, you can never win with that boss. You can never do enough. You are never going to be enough. Not because you're not enough, but because you're not enough for the boss. So you're going to notice that you start to work more. You work more hours. You work harder. You work through lunch. Now you're not really taking care of yourself very well. Your self-care slides downhill because who's got the time? Then you notice that no matter what you do, you're not really getting the reinforcement or the validation from the boss. So you start to overthink, right? And you start to wonder if maybe you aren't the best person for this job. And you get a little depressed, except maybe you don't see it as depressed because that would maybe even be too much for you. So you start thinking about, maybe your nutrition and your exercise, and you might start getting up an hour earlier to get to the gym or to have some sort of breakfast. But of course, those things don't actually work, and it's not sustainable when you're overworking to try to please the boss. Eventually, that all slides downhill. So now you're making maybe trips to the therapist, which costs money, or maybe not the therapist, maybe the hairpist, maybe the stylist who listens to you and wonders, when are you going to leave this job? And, maybe to the bar to meet friends or to drown your sorrows, and then maybe the therapist. And then maybe you go the medical route because you don't feel like yourself anymore, right? You're not sleeping, you're not eating well, you look haggard, you feel haggard. And whether or not you see yourself as depressed, maybe you ask the doctor to check your hormones. So now you've got costs for your copays, or if you don't have that kind of insurance, you're doling out money for those bills. And of course, they're coming back probably altered because you're not in a great state, but it doesn't really give you treatment. It doesn't come back saying, oh, well, you've got this cancer that we have to do chemo and radiation for. No, your hormones are probably off, but the doc is probably looking at you the same way the stylist looks at you, which is, when are you going to leave this boss behind? When are you going to get a new job? When are you going to start taking care of you, not your boss? So then what about the passed up promotions? Because again, a narcissist isn't likely to let you off the hook and give you applause or praise. The narcissist is going to look you over, going to taunt you by maybe, promoting one of your peers, maybe not even because they did a better job than you, but to see if that kind of niggling will get you to work even more, which it might. And now you're missing the kids' soccer games and you're hiring somebody to do dinner, or you're picking up takeout because now there's just no time for that. And if you've got a spouse, now your spouse is feeling left out and pissed and frustrated. And now maybe there's couples counseling bills. So you get the point here? Like when you have a narcissistic boss, you're in a no-win situation. Now, all of that said, sometimes we can't give up the job because our lives really do seem to depend on it. We've got to make the mortgage. We've got to make the school tuition. We've got to buy food and insurance, and the list goes on. So if you're in a situation where you've got a narcissistic boss and you don't really believe that you can exit, then you got another cost for hiring a coach or a counselor, somebody to help you learn to make boundaries that stick in that workplace. And again, narcissistic boss, not going to respect the boundaries, but you have to be present. You have to be able to confidently move forward no matter how that boss treats you. Again, kind of a no-win situation, but it is possible to do. But again, the costs are climbing just to stay in a relationship with a narcissist. So you choose. If you've got to stay in that job, if you're going to maintain that boss, if you're going to be in that report system, then maybe the smartest investment that you make of all those hidden costs is hiring a coach who can teach you how to bring out and manifest your authentic self in the workplace, tried and true, grounded, moving forward confidently. And if you want to do that, just contact me. This is Wisdom Wednesdays, and this is Dr. Sage Breslin.